I think let's get started. Hi everyone, welcome back to ITOM batch 3, day 46. How are you doing guys today?
You're doing good, Ajay.
Good to hear. Okay, so yesterday I covered about the service mapping prereq sheet or the service mapping prereq which we required from the customer to start the service mapping. Anyone have any questions on that particular?
Jay, I'm not able to locate the recordings from the last 2-3 days. I mean, if whenever you get some time, can just post it once again.
Sure, I can do that, but that's available on that chat itself. So I can share you with you as well. No issues.
I don't know. I mean, whether it is a sync issue or so, because I have number of time log out, log in, tried syncing, but unfortunately, I'm having a last recording of 41st day.
Okay. Sure. So might be you not joined. That's why it's not available there. But yeah, I will share with you. It's not a big deal.
Sure. Thanks.
Okay. Any other questions from anyone apart from that? Okay. If not, I
No,
think
Ajay, I'm good. That
let's start the next things then. Now let me know once my screen is visible to you guys. So as I mentioned, the first step every time when we are going for discovery and service mapping, what it is, anyone remember? The basic first step. For the discovery.
For the mid servers.
Yes, right. So first of all, what we have to do, we have to be set up the mid server, right? So mid server is already set up here that I already done and showcased you. That's validated and it's up and running, right? Also, as I mentioned, the supported applications. So whenever we are doing discovery and service mapping, we can use the same mid servers, but for event management, we use two different mid servers. As of now, the supported applications, all capabilities, all and IP ranges, all right. So we can also control these three things like supported applications. Can we discovery and service mapping for that particular case? If I just put service mapping and discovery and remove the all. Okay, and then second IP ranges is all. If you want to block or exclude or include any IP ranges for the mid server level, you can also do that. And then capability is all. I'm just putting all because discovery and the same way as I mentioned, service mapping is also going to be used most of the capabilities while we are running discovery or service mapping, right? So first step is mid server, which we have to be configured, which we have to be assessed based on again locations of data centers, based on that device type or based on that firewall connectivity, right? So we can configure the multiple mid servers based on that requirements, right? That is first thing. Now what is the second thing which we required to do? Anyone remember what is the next thing?
Discovery schedule.
Okay, you're directly going to the discovery schedule, but before that you have to require anything to do?
Credentials.
Yes, right. So the next is credentials, which we have to be configured, because without credentials, whatever it's discovery or the service mapping, we cannot do or we cannot proceed further, right? So what I have done, I have just configured one credentials based on that labs which they were providing, and configure that credentials here to discover that Windows server first, right? So that I have done. Now I have this particular lab available here. Let me do one thing. Let me set this one. One moment. Yeah. No. Okay, so we have configured the credentials. Now, what is the third things to do? Any idea?
Validation.
Sorry,
Validation.
which validation?
Um, the credentials are properly having the connection set up and the validation.
Right, so we can do the test credentials for that. So I'm just testing the credentials for the mid server IP and then we'll proceed further, right? So my credentials is validated, right? What is the fourth thing now? Then we have to be, before moving to the discovery of any device, what we have to do, we have validate the firewall policies or connectivity from our mid server to the target machine. So as I mentioned, the same, 50-60% process will be the same for service mapping as well. So the first thing in the service mapping is we required mid servers, we required credentials, we required access, we required firewall policies enabled, and the discovery should be completed on that devices for which we are going to create or build a service map, right? That should be configured, or that discovery should be completed on that, right? And then we can, for quick check again, we can do the discovery of that particular IP. So the same thing I'm going to do here. I'm going to then run the discovery of that IPs, which is our mid server IP now, right? Now we have mid server available, we have credentials available, my discovery is running fine. The next things comes in the picture is the service map build configuration, right? So as I yesterday mentioned, there are a couple of ways to do that. But before that, there are other prereq which I already mentioned yesterday, right? Like we need a firewall policy connectivity from mid server to the target host which we want to use in the service maps with the specific port where that applications or the database and other things running, because that particular service maps is more focused on the application side instead of infrastructures, because infrastructures we have already discovered using the horizontal discovery, right? And associated applications we also discovered. But here what we are doing in service map, we are building a connection, or we are building a architecture or logical architecture diagram in ServiceNow for a specific use case, for a specific application service, or for a specific service map where we required couple of things, like as I mentioned, firewall policies to be enabled, and then the most important thing, the config file access of the servers, right? So why we require the config file access? Because sometimes ServiceNow automated discovery able to detect the things and we are able to do that, but if it is not able to detect, then we have to be configure, or we have to be create the connection sections in applications patterns specific from A to B. And A to B means like web servers to data, web servers to applications, or applications to database, whatever connections we want to make. We require to read the config file for the source server like web server, where in config file specifically that information mentioned how and on which IP or which port the device is connecting from A to B basically. So that we have to do. So
Sorry, Jay.
Mhm.
Can I ask one quick question?
Yeah.
Ajay, since we have already done, say example, I have 10.1.2.7 IP address from the infrastructure where this is my Windows server, and
Mhm.
Windows server is already been discovered through my horizontal discovery.
Mhm.
But when I am enabling service mapping, do I have to uh, rediscover the same server again because my application is resides on this server?
No, it's not required to be rediscovered. Basically, it's not required to be rediscovered because when your service mapping discovery will run automatically, that discovering and making the connections, right? Only we just need to ensure that device is discovered properly and available in the CMDB, right? The same thing whatever they are mentioning here in this lab, they are saying just check those particular things that we already covered it, right? But they are trying to discover that particular machines and trying to modify that form layout, putting that discovery source as a service. Now check the CIS is discovered properly or not, and check the XML document and just create those particular credentials to discover that particular IP, right? So that we have to do, but not every time. If our discovery is already completed, that particular portion which we are doing here, it's not required to do, right? I just want to rephrase कि discovery is must required to process or to proceed further for service mapping. Okay, so I did this one. That's my CIs must be discovered now. Now let's move to, yeah, it's discovered and it's created. I don't want to do anything else. Now let me go to the another lab, which is again this one. Okay, we have done this. So I've already downloaded all labs for service mapping specifically. Then it comes to delimited text uh, uh, delimited test passing strategy, where what they are want to showcase like how you can pass the config file. If you see, they have provided one apache.cfg.txt. In this apache.cfg.txt, these informations are available, right? If you see, like listening port is 80, app install version is 2.2.31, city location Seattle, business services EMI dispatch scanning service. So that type of information is available in the configuration files, right? So what we have to do from this logged in this, I think let's try to do this one, how basically that working and how you can modify the existing discovery pattern to check that informations on that particular device. Okay, so let's start that one, and how you can pass the data from there to the specific words. I think that's covered already, right? How you can get the data, how you can pass the data using that config file, how you can retrieve the config files basically, right? But if you want, I can do it again, right? So that's basically end of the day, it's the pattern configurations for connection sections like we already did for extension section. So extension sections, we are discovering the extra attribute or creating the extension section if customer is asking for any other attribute which is not possible out of the box. But the same way, if we need to make a connection from A to B, then we are going to do the application section and we're going to be create a connection section in it, and we are going to use the same pattern, parameters or same pattern standards to be create the patterns to follow or fetch the informations from there, right? So that we have to do basically. So let's do this one, delimited text passing strategy. Let me check if it is the correct one then before going to be the next things here. Yep. Okay, let's do this one first. Okay, now let me go back to my instance. What they are
I think
mentioning.
those doc has shared with us like still.
No, not yet, because this is the first day which we are discussing
Uh,
about the things.
okay.
Only we discussed about that Q and oh sorry, the pre-rec of the service mapping. Okay.
Okay, Jay.
So what they are mentioning, you need to be logged in ServiceNow instance as a system admin, navigate to EMI dispatch, application service, and select Apache actions, right? So let's do the same thing. I'm going to be select the application services under the service mapping, let me put to all. Oh, it's not there. Okay, it's not there. I think that is somewhere else, or might be. I opened the correct tab, right? Yeah. This is the correct instance if I'm not wrong. Yeah, it's service mapping instance, yes. Let me go again and let's see what they are mentioning. To Apache web application that support this. Part of the cloud dimensions, yeah. From the service instance logged as in system admin. I think I already logged as in system admin only. Then they are mentioning navigate to this map service mapping application service and select Apache application, right? So let's go again. Let me go with service mapping. That's opening the same table. Might be it's not updated here properly, or I have another view. Okay, let me open that. CMDB underscore C underscore service dot list. That's the parent table basically for all application services. Yes, I can see it now here. Let me search for this. No, nothing is there. It's not there. If I'm not wrong, then. Mm. Okay, let's leave this one. Let's go to that. Basically, what they are mentioning here. They are asking to add a new attribute in Apache Web Server class, which we can add it as you know from the CI class manager. So they are asking to go to CI class manager, select hierarchy, go to the Apache Web Servers class attribute info and add one attribute which is app release version. Put it in this way and just save it. Once that is done, modifying the existing discovery pattern, right? I think let's do this one, pattern designer, discovery patterns. Let's do that particular things. Let's leave this one, discovery pattern. That I think it's going to use the Apache on Windows. Let's copy this, open that pattern. Okay, and identification sections, select identification section entry point for pattern designer. Let me open this one and we'll showcase you. So simply they are asking to create a new extension section. From the extension section, select a new in the name field Apache Web Windows extension and select done. From the designer extensions from the extension section Apache Windows to open the pattern designer, right? So what I just mentioned to you, like that is Apache's identification section or lightweight identification for Apache is there. Extension sections, through extension sections, what they are trying to do, they are trying to get that information related to the app version. But as I just mentioned as well, connection sections, right? If you see that already out of the box couple of connections having from Apache to next level of devices like WAS connectivity, LDAP connections, OC4J connectivities, WebLogic, Jiva, and Apache to Tomcat communication connections, right? So that mostly we are going to use while we are working on the service mapping to make a connection, right? So I will showcase you in the next things how we are going to create a connection, but it's just the same like extension pattern which we are doing, right? So now they are going to do that open. I think let's do this one. Let's not a big deal. Apache on Windows. Let's create this one. This done. Let's open this. It's showing collect app release version. So let's click this one. Done. Now what we have to do from the pattern designer, we have to go the debug mode, automatic mid server selections, top to down. Debug mode, as I every time mention, we have to be I can say every time go to the debug mode, and we have to be provide the correct information to that before starting the before starting the configuration of the any pattern, right? So what we are doing, we are just using these particular things, and it's a top to down. That's why we have to be use the entry point specific things, right? If it is there, that will work, otherwise it will not, right? So entry point basically for which service maps we are doing and from where that application will be starting. Once the connection has been done, we have to be connect, then that's once that's done, we can go to the parse file, and we have to be parse this particular file, right? So let's go this one. Let's see if there is no host destruction is not. I think there is some issue with this particular one, but okay, let's see if it is able to do that. Because that the first thing is only we are not able to identify that service map here itself. Let me see if I missed something or not. One moment. I just downloaded the labs because I already done a couple of times this one. So horizontal discovery lab mid-server validations, that's done, that's done. Then lab map and individual service. Oh, okay, I think that is missed. 3.0.1. No, that's why that's not coming there, right? And then nothing. And then extension section. Okay, so let's do this one first of all. Just let's create that discovery and create credentials, and then go for another one, right? So what we are doing, let me create this credential first, and then we'll go to that pattern side, because that is required to do that before, right? So let's go back from here. Shit, let me do in another way. Sorry guys, it's little confused, but don't be confused here. What we are doing, that service map is earlier which we are not able to navigate or find out. We are creating that service first of all before moving to that parsing strategy, or before moving to find out that thing basically, right? So I'm going to do that. This one they are using, because end of the day we require to run the discovery on it, right? Now let me create the password. Let me save, and we need to run this IP. Yeah, basically that's the IP which we have to require to make a connections, right? So let's do this. Let's see the credential is working or not. Once that is done, let me control P and let me save it on my desktop. Okay, the credentials is validated here now. Then we have to be configure the application services, where we can configure from here. Like we have to navigate to the service mapping and home. From additional options we can configure this one, right? So let's configure this one, service mapping home. So this is one of the way to configure it, or we can directly go to the application service table, and from there we can also configure, right? So it's also showcasing here. A banner might be displayed in the top of the form. You can create application service using a new application service form. This is part of the CSDM process for creating application service that are part of business and technical services. This will be addressed in another course and should not be used at this time, right? So we can also do it from we can do from there, right, as well, right? This is the service mapping home dashboard, where it's just showcasing you how many services running, map, ML powered candidates, how many map servers is there, how many, right? So let's do it right away directly from creating the application service from there itself. Okay, let's go here. Let's do from here. I already opened it somewhere, I think so, if I'm not wrong. Let's close this. Not closing this. Yeah, let's close this. Let's open from here. So what entry point they are asking to be put? the complete name showcasing is this. Honor, they are putting able tutor. I'm just putting this. Able tutor, I'm just putting this one, and it's a web applications. So as I yesterday mentioned, there are lots of entry points available, right? We need to analyze, we need to understand that particular entry point which customer is providing to us belongs to which type of entry points. Mostly customer is using 90% HTTPS and HTTP entry point because most application running on that side, but some applications also running on the Citrix side, so you can use the Citrix delivery controllers endpoint, right? Some applications running on ACL endpoints, or some as endpoint is running for MQ as well, right? So whatever that application is running, might be you are not sure which is that application entry point for that particular application. So you can feel free to ask that informations to customer when they are providing that informations to map a application service, right? So that need to be asked from there, right? So I'm going to use the HTTPS endpoint here. HTTPS endpoint will be working for both HTTPS, right? So I'm going to use this one here. If you see, this is HTTP, which we are going to be connect. Where is, yeah, oh yeah, let me take it here. Let's put this one and let's add, right? So once you add it, you and here we can also see what we want to do. That's what criticality we want to be configure. Do we want to be actionable or not, or do we want to be enable as a traffic based service or not, right? So if I come back here, I think it's come back to basic info. Somehow it's hanged. It's not saved. Let me go back. Let me see. It's not saved. Why? Let me do it once again. Somehow it's not saved properly. EMI scanning this. Owner is able tutor. The entry point is web. Entry point is HTTPS 192.168.this. Let me add this. Let me save this. I just missed to save this one. Yeah, so once you saved it, additional informations data will be available here, where you can select your business criticalities, whatever it's somewhat critical, if you want to put it operational and on, but don't put it operational till that time that is not approved by your stakeholders, right? And the same thing, there is no transfer or there is no update set things work. Whatever you are doing in the dev, the same way you have to be do it on prod as well, except the application service record creation, right? So you can transfer using the update set, but apart from that, you have to be create or configure the entry points, and then you have to be run the discovery again. There is no way to move these particular things using an update set, right? Also here it's traffic based discovery checkbox. What is that traffic based? Basically the traffic based is something based detecting on the traffic or transactions happening from A to B server, right? So it sometimes it's good, but sometimes it's not that much giving the exact informations, because traffic is something is if we are doing transactions from A to B, and that sometimes it's not correct, right? Actually that transactions which is happening from A to B is not correct, and that's not the part of that particular architecture of that particular application, right? So what I feel, I'm all going to be avoid this one to use that one. But on the first time when we are when I creating service maps, I'm going to use this one. And after once I have a map available, I'm not going to use or not utilizing the traffic based discovery, right? Because it's not giving the exact informations or exact connection details for service map. It will fetching informations based on the traffic from A to B servers basically, right? So I'm not going to do this one, and let's do this at entry point. We have already done this one, and let's go to the view map, right? So I'm just putting like this. Let's go to the view map. So once I clicked on the view map, automatically, whatever, Iklavya, you ask, now the discovery is going to be discovered that device automatically, if it is discovered or not. But why I am saying if CIS is already discovered, it will save a lot time for us, and we no need to be hassle out with that stakeholders to fix the discovery issue first, and then we are moving for service mapping. If discovery is done, that means the credentials are there. That means firewall policies are done. Only what we have to do, we have to come here and run the at the entry point, and we have to run the discovery of that particular service maps, right? So once you open it, that discovery is already automatically going to be start. Meanwhile, that is running. Here, right hand side, you are able to see that all informations about your entry point. When I click entry point, you can see this one. This is the entry point. This is the type. If you want to see detailed properties, you can go here. Apart from that, once I'm not clicking on the entry point, you can see the application service details here, non-operationals, created, its traffic base enable, name and all, right? Also, there are a couple of actions, right? So here you can send it for review using this UI actions. Means if I just want to send it for someone to review, right? It's assigned to able tutor, but if I want to send it to Iklavya, right? So I can select the assign name. I can put that the service map has been configuration has been done. Just have a look and update to us, right? So what they do, the user, I mentioned about yesterday, I mentioned yesterday about some rules. So which user have SM admin owner role, they can able to come here and approve and reject based on their things, right? If it is, it's that service map looks good, they can approve it. It means once it's approved it's moved to the operational state. If it is reject, then you have to be come again and configure the requirements. And once they are rejecting, definitely they have possible options to put the comments why they are rejecting, right? Then this is some suggestions which I just automatically happening using the ML or traffic based connection suggestions, local rules or global rules, that we no need to be worried. But if you want to see the connection sections, if something is there which is happening through the ML, you can also see that information is there. Then view and edit mode is something about the service maps. If I get to go to the view, no one is able to edit this one. If I go to the edit, I can edit, right? So you can see simply view, it's changes only will be visible, right? But edit, we can see the discovery errors if something is there, right? Then this is the setting button, which you can come back to when you click in this one, you can come back to the main home page or the main creation of the service mapping page, right? So once I click on I view map again, apart from that, this is couple of checks. You can enable it, right? Display in host view, group in the CI, remove topology CI cycles, large map, include ignored error as well if you want to see which you ignored it already, right? Spanning view tree, if you want to export in PDF, so you can also do it from here as well, right? Apart from that, these styles you are able to see hours, day, week, month, right? So sometimes we have to be need to be observed our service maps, how basically it's connecting. I can say in connecting basically what are the changes will happening here on this particular service maps in last couple of months and days, right? So if I just want to see the months, I can see the map will be showcasing last month based on the data. If I just want to see the changes on the week, that will also it's available here. So if changes will be showcasing here, what changes has been done in last week, adding ACI, deleting ACI, if any change happens through automatic service mapping, then you are able to see that, right? It just for plus minus of these things. Also the timeline is available here in the top, right? So this particular timeline is is showcasing if I just want to see the map for a specific use case. Let me give you a scenario here. I have a P1, okay, and that is P1 is running, but P1 is generated now 7 or 8 o'clock around, right? But we want to see the yesterday 8 o'clock how my map is looks like. So I can go and click on this particular timeline and see that particular informations how that will be looks like then and how the service map looks like now. And we can compare is there any component added or removed in the service maps due to that impact happening related to the P1, right? So we can also do that. Again, apart from that, when I click here on this name, you can also navigate to other service maps from here itself, right? So you can also do that one. Now you can see it's taking more time as compared to the service discovery because the CI discovery is not already done, right? So if let me see, I can do the discovery of it right away. So I run the discovery. The discovery is also running here. Once that is done, that it's showcasing that's completed and something is visualized in below that particular arrow. If you are able to see this arrow is just representing. Okay, this is the entry point. This is the application entry point where the application started. Now you can see Apache is discovered. So see here when we run the discovery we putting this one that discovered the Apache, right? This Apache server is running on the specific server which is this particular virtual machine Windows server where it's running, but here we have discovered the application which is running on top of it, right? Not the infrastructure host which we are doing using the quick discovery or that normal horizontal discovery. Here we are discovering the Windows machine, but here in the service mapping side we discovered the Apache which is running on it. And how that's working now, let me tell you that as well, because we put it entry point HTTP. This means what that's representing on this 192.168.0.5 there is one port on that specific IP on port 80 Apache is running, and that's finding out based on that one, right? So they automatically collecting the PID, that informations and the other information, right? Everything is available here. Okay, so that's the one thing. Now if I'm not wrong, this particular connection or debug section will be work automatically.
Jay, I have a two question if I can ask in between, or
Yeah,
should I wait?
no, you can ask it now.
Okay, the very first one is I want to ask is like starting of the session. Um, uh, but since like number of time you have spoke about the configuration item. Say example, during the discovery, one of the IP address we are not able to discover, or we are not able to find out discover that one through the discovery and all.
Mhm.
Is there any possibility that particular IP address we can have that IP address in the config file of our discovery, wherever the discovery is running in that server? Can we
Mhm.
just keep that configuration file, that IP address, and then we run the discovery in that way? We'll be able to discover that.
No, no. So basically, let's take an example. You have a config file. On that config file, two servers X and Y, right? Y is
Mhm.
already discovered, but X is not discovered. And
Yeah.
using that config file, you are pulling that X servers to make a connection. It right? It will not make a connection till the time that X is not discovered. First of all,
Hmm.
right? Or might be X is not discovered because some mid-server issues or some credential issues, right? I'm not saying it's not trying to discover on that time. It's trying to discover it, right? But I feel or I see lots of issues that particular time it's not working, right?
Hmm.
That's why my assumptions or I always says to customer at least first level of infrastructures is ready to us to proceed further on the service mapping with the discovery, right? So if discovery is done, at least we will not face that type of time to be worked on it on service mapping. Also we know discovery is already done it, right? So it just, fetching the informations based on the CIS which is already available and making connections to the next level immediately. Right. So like, just if you see this particular file we just added here, right? It's already giving me all informations like changes, right? The CIL added, file added, all informations related to that one. The traffic based discovery showcasing inheritance, enable or disable if you want to do that, right? So that is giving, but whatever you ask, that's not working in that way.
Okay. My second question is, say example, one of my server, I have some application internal to the banking, and that is like, a URL of the application. What exactly is running inside? That is some like, a critical transactions of the users where everyone do not have the access. And my customer want to monitor or want to discover that URL. So is service mapping support the synthetic monitoring?
What does that mean, synthetic monitoring?
Wherein like, we are just monitor or discover only the URLs.
Service mapping is not for monitoring. Bhai. Service mapping
No,
is
no,
just
no, no, no. I'm not
no.
saying
I'm
that concept is clear. The service
right.
mapping is not for monitoring, but can we discover any URL which is running in a server?
Yeah.
Right?
Yes.
Okay. Because what is happening is one of the URL wherein the critical application. I mean, we have not been given any chance to explore it yet, but given a task to see that what all we can do in order to just do the like discovery of the URL.
Okay. Now tell me once only the one thing. When you are saying ki URL running on a specific server, what does that mean?
Meaning the same way as we have one server, say Windows server, on that server one of the application is running.
That's simple. If that is running, that will we are able to do that, right? So let me showcase you one more example quickly, right? See, this is my Windows server which I just discovered. Okay.
Yeah.
I'm going to the running processes where it is. Yeah, here it is, right? So if you see here, lots of process running, lots of things is running, and related to that, I think TCP connections is not discovered properly. Let me see one more thing. Okay, it's not discovered, right? So on that running processes, if I go here, one moment. That is Apache, right? Something Tomcat. I'm not sure the name about it, but here in this running processes, whatever you want to do, you can do it, right? You can pull that up, PID and the PPID, and based on that, you can create a new entry point, as well as that this is not discovered. I'm not sure why it's not populated here, TCP, but in the TCP connections you are able to see that how your one server is connecting to another servers. Like, let me quickly showcase you. This is bothering me again and again. One moment. That's required to showcase your Windows server. Right, if I go to Windows, I just discovered one more, right?
Actually, this application team is giving us like hard time, and so like your application is self-capable. Why not like doing by your own? So
But that's not the way, basically.
that is not the way, yeah. But some internal politics.
Sorry. Oh, I opened the Windows classification. My bad. Need to be open the Windows server. Yeah, this one, I think C Labs Windows. Okay. Let me see if something is, yeah, see. So basically, if you see, it's showcasing this particular server. This is connecting on this IP on this specific port, right? It's connecting to this server on this specific port, right? Now, you know, the port 80 is for HTTP, port
Yeah.
443 is for HTTPS, right? If I just simply pick this in IP, and if I go to the where it is, yeah, reshape it. Okay, it's little confusing. Now let me go back. Okay, now I'm going to be creating new business service again. I'm just putting anything name. Okay, I'm just putting as a web application HTTPS. No. I just copied this something different. What it is? Yeah. So it's connecting from my this particular server to this. So if I just put this one, let's see. Let's save. And the view map, right? So everything which we are discovering, that's happening through that only. It's connecting or listening. So if you see listening port are two only, where it's listening on 127.0.0.1. Apart from that's connecting, right? So if I need a connection, if I make a connection from this server to this IP, I can create a connection on port 443. Getting my point? But I choose this IP on port 443 to create an application service, and that will not work, I'm sure, because that IP is not discovered, right? It just creating a connection. So while we discovering a Windows machine, I specifically added, that's why while we are running a Windows machine, that's on the TCP connections. It's I can say it's a traffic connections basically, right? So from my this particular server is connecting on this IP on this, so that is not discovered, and you see it immediately gives error to us, right? Service mapping triggered and horizontal discovery found this because this was not in the CMDB. Getting my point? So that's why we says on the first step discovery is required to do that, right? Now it's also putting that horizontal discovery failed on port 43, but this the host is unreachable and status code is this, right? Check connectivity from mid servers, sensors and all, right? So this is something is showcasing us the first of all that this particular IP is not reachable from this from our mid servers. This is not available in the CMDB and it's not reachable host, right? So all three errors showcasing in a single thing, right? That's why especially created this one. So discovery is required to do that, and once discovery is done, using the TCP connections, we can check how it's connecting to the next level and all, then we are able to do that, right? The same thing will be happening, should be the another server, which is this one, but I'm not able to relocate the why TCP connection is not updated here. Might be some discovery error or something. That's why it's not updated here, but that should be updated. And based on the TCP connections on port 80, the Apache Tomcat is running on it, and that's why we are able to create that particular service maps related to that only. Okay, now that's done. Now let's move to the next thing. I think that's done basically, right? So we have to do this one. They are just showcasing that whatever I just showcase you, right? So entry point, you can see the applications, you can see this one, show discovery logs, you can see the logs as well. Then you can enable the display in the host view. If I enable this one as a display in the host view, and I go here, and if I enable it, see this is changed to the server. ITOM SVR IEME is my server, Windows server where Apache is running, right? Once I click on the display in host view, if I just disable, this is moved to that application basically, right? So there are different ignored errors. If you have any error which you want to be ignored already, if you want to be include this one, you can do that, right? If you want to spanning tree view, if multiple CIs are there, and if you want to change the view of this particular service maps, you can also do that, do those particular actions, right? Remove topology cycles, you can also do that, right? So these are some navigations which you have to do that, right? So that's only the thing they are showcasing here, right? I just already mentioned the properties, you can see it, right? You can see this particular one as a dependency map, which we already discussed, right? You can see that discovery dependencies and other things, right? So That's only in that one. Now let's quickly, okay, we have time, so let's do this one, which is must we are doing already, right? So what we are doing, we have to do the parse file, because now the map is done and debug mode is enabled. We can, so we can go here parse file and we can provide the this. Now let's do the retrieve content, right? So anytime we have to do the parsing file, we required a path from the customer that must be required, right? So that is the path where the configuration they have configured. Browse to this and double click on this. Okay, oh, let me go to this, let me go. See, Apache 24. See, Apache 24 conf. Oh, it's open the different one. Conf. Or most of the time, for specific type of applications, configuration is standard, right? So like, Apache configuration is going to be stored in the conf and this, so always that will be the same, right? If you see now, we are able to retrieve that one, that what is the apache.config.test data available, we are able to get that all data here, because this is just a created custom for this particular lab or scenario purpose. But that something, sometimes the data will be in different way, but it looks like the same, only where you are able to see the connections from one server to another server's informations and the port and other things, right? So we need to be remove, or we need to be find out that one using these parsing strategies, which is delimited test, which is JSN, which is regex, or XML, or the position start from end, from, or from end or start, right? So we have these particular parsing strategies available. Using that, we can parse the data and populate in a variable, and once that is populated in variable, we can go and do that, right? So if you see here, they are showcasing uh, they are using the delimited test and app release version, right? So if I just tune, because the app release version is here, not this one, app release version, yeah, here it is. I'm not copying, I'm just putting included lines, app. Right, so once I just did it included lines, that will automatically remove the all data from here and put it here, app release line. Right, if I just want to excluded lines, I can do that. Right now, what we have to do, we have to be captured this value in a variable, right? So let's see what variable they are using here. We can go to this, edit delimiters, right? We can put edit up, we can edit the delimiters from here, and we can do that simple. We just need to be u underscore app release version they are putting, right? So let's done, and let's configure this is, let's pick this information is u underscore app underscore release version. So it's again, it's up to us on which attribute or which variable we want to be capture that informations. No, it's not right. One moment. Underscore app underscore release underscore version. It's not allowing me to do that. Let me do in different way. I think that's the same way they have just selected this one and doing this one position too. Okay, let me put in the position. Let me add a variable. Oh, this is deleted here. Use the font line separator. That's a new underscore release. Let me delete in this one. Position is 2. Okay, now I can do this one. Delimiters, this done. U underscore app underscore fleet underscore version. Somehow it's not allowing me to do that table. No. Oh, shit. Position already I'm putting 2 because why I'm putting position 2, because that first one is the complete first, and that's putting that's coming on the position 2, but it's somehow it's not going to do that, right? Number of the position must match the number of the variables. Yes, I put in this, it's not trying to. Let me see what I'm missing. Add variable, and the bottom double click on the name and you should variable version. Okay, let me do this one. U underscore app underscore. I got it. Release underscore version. Okay, now we are going to be capture this one, right? So basically using this, but we are capturing U underscore release version using these delimiters, and position is second. So we will capturing end of the day when I test it, the 2.0 value will be getting, right? So once it's done, let's see. So value should become as a U underscore 2.0, right? And once that's done, we can modify the config file test. Its value is not coming. No, something is wrong.
Jay, can you tell a little bit more about delimiters? It is just only quotes, or can
Del
be anything else?
thing, if you see, it's delimited is a sequence of one or more characters for specifying the boundaries between separate independent regions in the plain text, mathematical expressions, or others data, basically, right? So if you see here, delimiters is just, we want to be captured this particular value in inverted commas, so that's just doing so it little separate, basically, right? So how we are able to separate from that value which we are passing, where it is, yeah, we are passing from here, right? So we are separating this value under the inverted commas, right? So we can do whatever we want to be at. I think there are a lot we can add it, right? If I just want to add this one, I can add it as well, right? So you can see it's coming in inverted commas now, right? But we are not doing this one. We are only using the value, whatever value we are fetching, that is something 2.0. So let me test it again, this one. I hope it's clear, right?
It is a similar kind of way, like, as we have done the regex.
No, come again.
We have done general expressions.
Yes, definitely, right. So that's the same one. Let me remove this one as well. Now let me showcase you done. Let me this. Okay, now it's selected this one. Let me done this and let me put the position 2. It's not selecting the 2.0. It's again app release version, excluded lines. Sometimes it's very confusing. Release version, we added variable. They double click on this name and from delimiters select the pencil icon to configure the delimiters in the bottom field and enter a space. Okay, in the bottom field is enter a space. I think that's the reason I'm doing wrong. Yep, we got it, because there is a space in between app version and this one, right? So I just did this one. If I test it, we can do that. So basically we are, capturing the data in cards, basically, in simple words. So that's, we can do that, right? So now we are able to get the data whatever we required. Then what we have to do, they are saying that, let's close this one and then modifying the select file now to use the string as follow type, do not copy and paste. So they are saying that we, let's go to this install directory and all, let's go that. Yeah, they saying they are going to be do that here. Retrieve file contained. So only the thing is, this is just, we are showcasing, I'm just trying to showcasing here how we are able to pass the file, how we are able to capture the data in variables using the different parsing strategies, and then how we are able to map it. And the next step is again the same, mapping this particular variable to the target tables or target variables, right? So the same thing what they are doing now, they are just showcasing this one, add a new step, which is collect the store app release and deploy it to Apache server, go to this, and then just putting that information. And once this done, they are they are giving a challenge as well to app release version will be populated for this one in that custom attribute which we have created, right? But I have not created this one, right? So that will be done once we are running the discovery, and the extension section of the window Apache will be triggered and we are able to get that information is available there, right? So nothing much is required to be do that, but I just want to specifically showcasing the delimited text parsing strategies, how you are able to pass the data if you have any specific things available at their side. Okay, so I think the same thing you should try at your site as well using the parsing strategies, because in the service mapping the use config file parsing going to be must required, and utilizing those particular fields will be must required basically. So that's required to do it from your side to do some testing. I also not did doing from last couple of years that one, so that's why I'm little confused sometimes to do that particular positions and all, but it only the thing is if you are doing the hand practice on this particular side, because pattern is something always belongs to that only. Okay, so do that one, and I think tomorrow we can also have another things basically related to the service maps which we can discuss and going further on that one. Okay, any questions in that one from anyone? Yes, someone raise hand. Yeah.
Yeah, Ajay. So this one, this pattern customization which you are showing currently is mostly related to the discovery patterns, right?
Yes, no, yes, discovery patterns, discovery application type of patterns basically.
Okay. So as we are trying to find out the version, release version or something else, then
Hmm.
how we are showing it in dependency map? Like dependency map top to down will show the complete hierarchy, right? URL to web server to database, everything. And how this particular attribute which we are
Uh,
trying.
so no, let me clear you again. You are again not following me. I'm not sure where you are, but what I'm trying to showcase here. You Sorry, if you go on mute, that will be good. Using the parse file, we are able to get the data. We are doing the same thing. We are not showcasing on dependency map, and service mapping is not a dependency, right? If you see here, which they just mentioned, they have created one more attribute, app release version, as a custom attribute, only populating that attribute, creating the extension section on Apache, right? And as I just quickly mentioned here on this particular service map, where it is, yeah, here it is. I just click on this one, right? So once you added fields here, that will be showcasing here. So what we are doing, we are discovering, we discovered that particular Windows Apache server, and top of it, using the extensions pattern, we are fetching the app release version. Why I use this example, or why that they are use example? Because tomorrow or day after tomorrow, or in when you are going to be worked on the service mapping, you will get the config file. Once you get the config file, you have to be parse that particular file and collect the informations, right? So there are different parsing strategies available. You get a config file, you browse it, then going to be parse it, and how you are able to parse the data, how you are able to store the data in variable, and how you are able to make the connections using the data to third party machines or you to another devices. That is the main purpose of showcasing this one, not to how it's populating on the dependency map. And don't be confused, dependency maps comes with the discovery and service mapping is completely different. I hope I'm able to clear your doubt now.
Yeah, got it, Ajay.
Okay, so that we are doing. So it's only just that they are just populating one attribute app release version using those parsing file strategies and all, right? Same will going to utilize for connection sections and other things, basically using the parsing. Okay, I think any other questions from anyone else?
Yeah, hi there. Can you come again on the running process part?
Running, what you want on the running process part?
What is exactly change?
What is exactly which running
I
process
mean,
part? Not getting it now.
in the Windows here you stored. What is actually exactly the running process?
This is running processes you are asking, right?
Yeah.
Oh, this is nothing, you know, uh, and your Windows, you have your laptop, right? On your laptop, there are lots of applications or process are running, right? So on which PID or which PPID they are running, where the command line key parameters, that is only that one, right? If you open your Windows you can click on that start menu, right click on the start menu, and if you go to the task manager of your Windows machine, you can see lots of transactions are showcasing running there. You can see the same type of informations there as well, PID, command line, name of the transactions. That is only thing, right? So it's a process which is running on that machine itself, right? We are discovering and populating here. That's why we are doing discovery on frequent basis or all every alternate days basis, so the things or the process or connections will be up to date every time. Okay, yeah, any other questions from anyone else?
Ajay, while configuring service mapping, I mean, like what kind of errors we will get, Ajay? Like, can you
I'm coming on.
showcase some errors going
I'm,
forward?
I'm coming on that point slowly and gradually. If I first day share the errors, what is that? What will be left in the training then? I already showcased you one error just now to configuring one another service, right? Where it is,
Yeah.
yeah. I already showcased you this one. So if you are putting, if the CI is not available, if CI is not done, that type of errors you will see automatically. And you can see this particular CI is yellow, right? See, this is an error. This is a live error. Basically, service mapping triggered horizontal discovery, which not discovered because the CI is not available. And then they try to discover. They found the port is not unreachable, right? So that is giving the error. This is one of the error. And that same time, here also you are getting the mid servers or credentials or the firewall port policies error as well in the discovery messages. If you want to error handle it, you can handle it. And if you want to ignore it, you can ignore it. It's up, again up to us basically, right? The same way discovery errors we are having, the same way we are having the errors on the service mapping as well. For each service maps, the different errors which we'll showcasing in that below of service maps. Okay, anything else?
Ajay, just one last thing.
Mm-hmm.
If suppose we are getting a URL for any of the application, from application owner. We are trying to put the URL in the this service mapping. Okay, one of the web server is not getting retrieved via doing the service mapping. So I know that we can do the right click and we can add that manually, but that is not recommended, right?
Right, that's not it.
Okay.
If you are doing automated service maps, that's not recommended.
Okay, so in this case, what should be our approach? Like that web server is not getting at all discovered.
So you have to be discovered if you want to do automatic service mapping. If it is new, if it is not discovering any XYZ challenges and everyone, raise their hand, we cannot discover it, then you can do or create a manual CI in the CMDB and then you can add it manually just to showcase the impact. But what is the issue using that manual one? If let's take an example, now you're using a X123 web server example, okay? And after a couple of days that has been replaced with 234 web server, so you don't have any idea that's replaced, and 123 is running on manually added connections as a particular service maps, right? Who are going to be take care about that? So that's why we are saying service maps are automate and working on the configuration file. If anything changes happen on your infrastructures based on removing the servers or adding the servers, that happen through the config file, and we are going to be up to date that particular service maps, right? That's why it's little better having the things on presentations.
Okay.
Right? So that we do.
Thanks, Ajay.
No issues. I think then we are good for today. Let's wrap up the sessions now and we'll connect tomorrow again. Till the time, guys, have a good day. Bye-bye.
Yeah, same to you, Ajay. Thank you.